Yeah. So in 2024, December 28th, is when I had a heart attack out of very surprised, out of nowhere. I have no heart issue. I was proactively actually gone to the cardiologist in September of 2024. Just, trying to be healthy, stay on top of my health and my well-being.
Welcome to Becoming Epic, the podcast for the ones who are counted out, the ones who've been knocked down more times than they can count, but still get back up one more time. This isn't for the perfect. This is for the underdogs, the misfits with big hearts, the ones chasing purpose, not permission. Here, we don't just talk about success. We talk about grit, discipline, heart. We talk about the courage it takes to rebuild yourself when no one is clapping. Because becoming epic, it's not a destination. It's a decision made daily. So if you're tired of the average, the excuses, the same old story, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Adam Berezowsky, and this is Becoming Epic. Let's wake the warrior in you, and let's fucking go. Welcome back to Becoming Epic podcast. My name is Adam Berezowsky, and I am excited yet again for this week's episode. So this is actually take two with this amazing woman that we have here. So the guest I have on this week is a very important person. I think all these people are important people into my life at this point. She has been my banker and friend for the better part of 10 years, I think we came? 11, 12, something like that, a long time. She helped me through this really interesting time when I was going through my divorce and my ex-wife was stealing money out of my business. And there was no way that any other banker would get her off of my account. And this woman was able to save my life and save my business and save the paychecks of my employees that actually next payroll period because she helped me get her off. So I appreciate that.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, totally. So she has an amazing story. This is Vita Lansden. I don't know if I mentioned that. And her story is really incredible because she's not only been a friend, but a client here, but she has recently gone through some pretty hard things. And so just introduce yourself and let's get your story rolling.
So my name is Vita Lansden, and I've been part of your circle of,
my ecosystem
for, some good years. I remember I started with you, I think right after I came in and I did a workout with you here, like when you opened and when I got introduced to you. And then my husband and my sister-in-law and my best friend, they discovered you. And,
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, you got to go. I'm like, Epic. I know Epic. I was working out outside of this place, but then I came and I joined, and it's been a really, really nice, fun time.
Little close. There you go.
Yeah. So in 2024, December 28th, is when I had a heart attack out of very surprised, out of nowhere. I have no heart issue. I was proactively actually gone to the cardiologist in September of 2024. Just, trying to be healthy, stay on top of my health and my well-being. I proactively went to the cardiologist in September, did a full-blown checkup. I mean, they just did anything and everything could be done. Everything was cleared. Basically, I was told, you don't need to come back and see me 20 years. And then 3 months later, I have a heart attack. And it was a shock. It was very, spontaneous, for sure. I believe that this was major cause was stress.
Yeah.
And part of the journey of going through this process of rehab and going through the doctors and getting second opinion, third opinion, come to find out, same thing. They're like, there's, your arteries are they're pretty clean. There's no plaque. There's no buildup. Genetically, there's nothing tied to it. I've done a lot of tests, and the only answer is just like, you just have to maintain your stress, and stress is what caused this. It's called SCAD, which is it's a spontaneous artery dissection. So basically, my artery just dissected. So yeah.
So now leading up to this, so kind of explain like stress, right? Because I think, from a lot of work that you do, it's a high stress job, a lot of risk, money, being in banking. But how have you been able to manage that, or how have you thought that you've been able to manage that in a good way? Obviously, then it turned out to not be a good way.
It's a work in progress, that's for sure. I went back after 8 months of being home and recovering. When I went back, I've been back maybe about 10 weeks now. It's a struggle because you still need to I need to think about my health and control the stress. I was able to control the stress when I was at home because, I was part of the rehab, part of going physical therapy, also with part of my journey of psychologists and psychiatries, therapy and all that. So I was trying to really manage it. A lot of yoga, just self-awareness. But then my life got, kind of disrupted going back to work. I was on this path, on a journey of what I was doing, and I was doing really well. And then I went back to work, and obviously, when you're back to work, you don't do the meditation that I was doing, or the yoga that I'm doing, daily basis. So you're kind of going back in the same routine, and it's really difficult to kind of manage that. And I'm trying, and I try not, for the work portion on all that stress of work to get to me, and that's been the challenge as to how to maintain that, how to fix that, and how to make sure that I don't really stress out the way I used to stress about things.
Yeah. So let's talk pre-heart attack, because I feel like some people, they're like, oh, I have a high stress job, right? But then they don't know how to manage stress. So at the time when you're pre-heart attack, I mean, was there any time where you felt like your stress was out of control?
No, because, prior to the heart attack, I think as women, we bear a lot more stress than we think that we do. Because, not only if you have a career outside of your home, you've got the career, then you've got the house, and then you got, the family, your parenting, aging, you worry about them, you worry about your kids, adult kids. So we kind of tend to put a lot on our plates and think a lot about different things. And I personally, I'm the type of person that I really, my husband said, you run hot all the time, and that's the kind of person I am. I think it's a combination of things. It's work, home, play. Even if I'm outdoors, you stress about things do I have the right shoes? Do I have the right, sunscreen on? I mean, it's just, stress is going to be part of your daily thing. It's just how you manage it. I think it's really important. And that's the kind of the journey that I'm going through, with therapy, especially with cardiac therapy, mental therapy. It's been eye-opening how I wasn't able to control a lot of things. And prior to the heart attack, honestly, I felt like maybe I was not as bad as everyone thought I was. You run hot. It's I can do it. I can do anything out there. I remember saying yes to everything. Yes, I'll bring food to your house. Yes, I'll have a party. Yes, I'll do this. Yes, I can run with 2 people, as a staff member and run a whole bank. I did a lot of yeses, and I think that was the toll.
Yeah, I think when people are going, I mean, I've been a entrepreneur my whole life. So the last job I had was a kid job. It wasn't even a high stress career. But I feel where I've worked with a lot of people who are in high level positions, I'll call it. It's I don't know. I always say no job is worth any health issue, right? And, we all have 1,000 problems until it becomes our health. And then we only have one problem, right? And so many people put the amount of stress on themselves that's not necessary due to a position, because you deal with high dollar clients. You're not dealing with you're just not a banker and a teller in a window, just doing deposits all day. So it's there's certain levels to stress in certain industries.
Absolutely.
You know? And so I feel like when people absorb that into their life on top of what you mentioned, home life, family, I mean, and yes, and now this is why majority, I think, of my clients have been women, because women are strong. They can handle a lot until they can't, and then when they can't, then that's when things start to really break down around them. But just like you said, there was no identifying cues of if I continue down this road, because your arteries were good, your heart was good, all these things. And then,
And I worked out,
yeah,
I was in shape. I worked out. I felt like I really had a nice balanced life.
yeah,
I figured out it wasn't really so balanced,
yeah,
And I remember after my heart attack, I was so upset with the whole deal. I was like, everything was perfect. Like, why did this happen to me? I was like, my children are, thank God, they're doing good. They're adults. They have their own lives. My parents are alive. Thank God they're doing well. My in-laws, everything, work, my husband, we travel. I work out. I have a nice balanced life. I like my job, but I didn't realize how saying yes to so many things and just running 100 miles an hour, that was really putting a lot of stress on me.
yeah. In this day and age too, it's like, because everything is also so instant now, like I'm a yes man. I do this all the time, where somebody, like, you ask me a question, I'm like, yes. And then like 20 minutes later, I'll think about the question. I'm like, shit, like, why did I A, commit to it, B, say yes to that, like, when I really didn't mean it. And I find myself like backstepping a lot, where like I'll say yes, I'd be like, wait, I have an appointment booked, or do whatever, right? Yeah. But now, like, I always, there's the COVID split, right? There's life pre-COVID, and then there's life past COVID. And I feel like life past COVID has been so fast. I'm waiting to wake up back in 2020 again, because 2020 was such a weird year that it was like so slow, right? Because like the curve, the lockdown, all that stuff. And then we've been in like hyper speed.
Oh yeah.
Like we're about to be in 2026, which is crazy, which is now 6 years after the start of this, And so,
that's a good point.
yeah, it's wild.
I mean, even work, I remember we would go to work from 10 to 3, because like in Europe, they have like a couple hours breaks.
Yeah.
People are just healthy.
And don't they have a 4-day work week too?
Yeah. I would go, we went to work and then we went on a walk because everybody needed to go walk. I think everybody became more healthier.
Right. Yeah. It's the work level. And you said the word balance, which I'm glad you said that. Cause like what I try to teach, like there is no such thing as balance, right? Cause nothing's ever 50-50. Like I look at life like harmony, right? And like, if you look at a sheet of music, which I'm learning to read music, I'm taking piano lessons.
Oh, nice.
I was doing it with my daughter. She bailed. So I'm doing piano lessons. I'm actually really enjoying it, because like when you look at a sheet of music, right, it just looks like a bunch of like hills and valleys. But then like once you learn how to play it, it plays a beautiful song, right? And that's how life should be, right? Because it's like, you're not going to be able to split your time between 50% at work, 50% at home. And like somebody like me who takes work home, I'm sure you took work home with you as well, because you built relationships. But it's like, even though you might be home and in family time, you're still bringing that home, right? And so like being able to create a harmony in your life is a much better, ever since somebody told me that, like it's been a much easier way to compartmentalize. Like it's okay to work a little bit more. It's okay to work a little bit less, so it's like, because eventually everything's going to get done.
Yeah.
Right. And like now this realm post COVID, right? Because it's like life is very heavy. I feel like everybody's in a rush, and stress is a huge, huge, huge thing. And so let's talk about like the groups that you found that have been like support for you.
I didn't pre-heart attack. I had heard about therapy, but I've never really like experienced it or never been part of it. When I had the heart attack, first of all, I was in disbelief. Like, how did this happen? Why me? It was a lot of like madness. Like I really wasn't in a position to even say to myself or be grateful, like, oh my gosh, I'm alive. I survived not only one, but 2 heart attacks. I had not one, but I had 2. And I was like, okay, why did this happen to me? Why me? I'm healthy. I was doing good. I ate the right food. I had the right water. What went wrong? What did I do wrong? But in not being grateful of being alive, I think that was like another step of it too. Like I was so angry that I wasn't even like grateful to be alive after 2 heart attacks. My husband and myself, once we were like, okay, let's figure this out. We need to go to the right place and right hospital. We discovered UCLA, and we've been in the care of the UCLA right off the bat, I had heard that they had a really amazing support group for women with cardiac. And I couldn't wait to get into it. Because I'm a fixer upper, I'm like, I need to fix things right now. And I wanted to fix myself and go back to, December 27th. And so I was like, oh my God, I got to get in. And I remember emailing so many people and trying to call people and say, hey, how can I get in? And I wasn't even ready for that. And I remember one of the doctors said, we haven't even figured out what's wrong with you. Wait, you need to slow down, So I finally got a hold of somebody and they introduced me to this amazing group of women, which I've only been a part of them a few times, but I know they meet on a monthly. It's just been life. It's crazy, and I've missed a few times with them. But the first time I was so nervous to be part of this. And it was a Zoom. I got on and there was 11 women in there, including myself, and they introduced themselves. And it was right after the fires in maybe mid-January. And I was in tears talking about what's going to happen, what has happened to me. I had a heart attack. I'm too young. I'm only 55. I can't believe this happened to me. And then I looked at all these group of women, and there's some young women in there. There's some a little older than me. There's some same age as myself. And then to top it off, 4 of these women are talking, and 2 of them, they lost their own homes with the fires at Palisades. And one woman was telling the story that her daughter lost the house down the street, and the other woman was saying, my sister lost her house down the street. So I was like, whoa, my problems are not as big as I'm thinking it is. It put things in perspective for me. But they really helped just bring that lightness and then take me out of that dark, thinking that feeling sorry for myself, why me? It just kind of put everything in perspective for me. And they were so supportive, and that they were right there. In spite of what happened to them, they're like, we got you. We're here for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, you want to feel good about yourself. Put yourself in a room like that. The first time I ever went to a 12-step program, it's you're when you think your life is messed up.
There's others.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
But it is hard because it's your hard is justified as hard for you. Right.
Yeah.
And you can't compare it to anybody else's hard. And there's this really amazing athlete. His name's James Lawrence. He's a world-renowned Ironman. And he did this challenge where he did 100 Ironmans, or 1 Ironman a day for 100 days straight. And the last, I think 30 he did, his mom ran the last 3 miles with him after every race. And he said something. He's her heart is just as hard as my heart. They're just different, right? Because there's different levels and there's different. And that's why it's so hard to compare, because because yes, you should not feel the why me and the go into that dark place. But then again, most people do, right? Yeah. Because it's you go through it and you just don't know why.
And the thing was, I'm very lucky to have such amazing friends and family. When everybody came to visit, at the hospital or at the house or call, oh my God, I can't believe it was you. What happened? Why you? And I remember I have quite a good few friends that they literally went and had their hearts checked right after me. We got to go see the cardiologist, And I'm glad that they do that, because we tend to think that we're just Superman or Superwoman, and we're really not. I mean, we need to really, take a step back and kind of understand that stress can get to you. As healthy as you are, stress can get to you.
Yeah. And it's crazy, being in a health-based business and seeing the amount of people that have gone through things Sarah had a guest on, she had colon cancer. A client of mine that just recently came back had a really severe case of it. I'm hoping to have her on the podcast. It definitely questions, and these are women, I'd say early. Sarah just turned 50. I think Suzanne's maybe around there, and they say get checked at these certain milestones. Right. Mm-hmm. But at this point, I'm I'm not going to wait to these milestones, because you can do everything right and you never know.
You never know.
and it's like for the fact that, I don't want to be a victim to myself, right? Because there's certain things that, yes, we can smoke cigarettes, we can do all these terrible things to like put ourselves in a shitty position.
Right.
Like I'd say 99% of us that are living a healthy life are hoping that doesn't happen. And so I do believe like early checks and just, even if you just go like once a year, just get basic blood work done.
I think it's really important to do that.
Yeah. And unfortunately, like with you, I mean, there's no real sign to say, hey, this potentially could happen unless you have the.
But I think, I should have listened to like a mental part of it. There was time that I was exhausted, but I was just like, I would push myself, know. I think we forget that it's not just a physical, but there's the mental aspect of it too. And now that I've really figured that part out, mentally, I think it's really try the yoga. I mean, not try, but I mean, I do yoga as much as I can, meditate as much as I can. Just kind of like self-reflect, to see what's important for me. Make decisions based on what I'm capable and I'm not capable.
Yeah, and part of me, like on this, even my Becoming Epic journey, like with this podcast and stuff, like, this isn't to convince people to do like hard exercise. Like exercise doesn't necessarily always need to be high intense. Like, finding what's right for for an individual that fits their lifestyle, fits their wants and their needs. And I do firmly believe that like without the mental piece of physical fitness, like your body's only going to change to a certain point, right?
Absolutely. And remember when I was here, I was pushing myself. I would just do like 15 weights and this and that after the heart attack. And then I went through that whole 4 month of cardiac rehab. I couldn't even lift a 2 pound. And I think I graduated at 6 pounds, if I remember. But it was kind of like, okay, I can't do that, but I still need to stay in shape. And there are other alternatives. To stay on top of your physique, I think it's not just the weights. And there's other ways. I discovered yoga, I discovered Pilates, I discovered just walking. Like literally at night, I take a walk with my family. It's got me close to my aunt. It's got me close to my kids.
That's awesome.
And it's been nice. I was like, at first I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't even do on my workout. I can't do anything. As it kind of time went on and I gained more confident and I, like I said, I graduated through the cardiac rehab. I was like, I could do this. I could do other stuff. There's other alternative ways for me to stay healthy instead of just, pumping the weights or, pushing yourself. You can push yourself, but just push yourself in a different direction,
Yeah, but even like, because I always talk about like doing something hard, right? And like I talk on the physical aspect. And in your case, like maybe we did set you up for the internal strength to like fight through the heart attacks, like being able to like know that you are strong because you were able to go from like an 8 pound to a 15 pound dumbbell to be able to like curl and press. And I think like, and yes, maybe that was perfect for the phase of your life then, pre-heart attack versus post-heart attack.
One of the things that my cardiologist actually told me, he said, because I was like, okay, what do I do? Like, I wanted to like not eat at all. I was like, I can't eat this. I can't eat that, And he was like, whatever you've been doing, do what you did. It wasn't like, you don't have plaque. You don't have buildup. If you ate right, then continue eating what you were eating. If you exercise, continue doing those mild exercises that are now you're being introduced to. Do what you've been doing, because if you hadn't done that, this heart attack would have been a massive one and it could have gone the really wrong way for you,
Yeah. See, that's, I think, where the prep of like knowing that your body can handle a lot more under stress, because exercise is stress no matter what it might be, the whole, I'm sure I mentioned this on a couple episodes, but the whole like exercise is like the reverse drugs. You feel great before, you feel great after, but you feel shitty during, right?
Yeah.
Versus drugs, you feel shitty after, shitty before, and you do drugs to feel good. And so, like having your body capable of doing things is so important, right? And I think that that's like a big to handle stress, right? Because it's like being unhealthy is super stressful, right? It's stress on the body. Someone that doesn't move, that sits all day, is super stressful on the body. So it's like we also want to like pick and choose the type of stressors we put our body through in order to survive the life that we are living.
And even the doctors, they tell you, part of my rehab was like, don't stop doing what you're doing as far as like your exercise. You want to like, your heart needs that exercise.
Yeah, for sure.
2 miles a walk per day. That was like, it's like almost like, 2 cookies, call me in the morning. Like you've got to have that. So even the doctors were like, continue doing some exercise because that's what your heart needs.
Yeah. And nowadays, like I said earlier, like the stress is so heavy just in everything, with our political realm, our like life, like this pressure to always like be bigger and better than we were, because I always talk about the 1% rule, right? Like be 1% better than you were yesterday. And it's all based on, I don't know if you've ever read James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. So it's just like, you make these very small, like,
I just got the book.
Oh, it's so good.
Just got the book.
Ready to be addicted. Like his ideology is so good because, even like somebody just starting as simple as a exercise routine, you don't know how many habits you actually need to develop in order to make it work. You got to make sure you prep your clothes, right shoes, get in the car, change your schedule. Like there's so many like little things that lead up to even just getting to the gym that then those are the things that he talks about. So it's like, if we adapt that ideology into like putting the pressure on ourselves of like, just doing one small task at a time, right? Because eventually as things compound, it will get bigger and bigger and bigger. It'll get better and better and better. And that's his whole idea. It's like, we try to bite off these massive projects, and I'm so guilty of it because I'm like, I just want to work. I can pull a 16-hour day because I can. I don't know how many more years I have.
It's going to catch up.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, and it has in a lot of different ways in my life. But I've also recognized that I've slowed down in a lot of areas that are like so hyper stressful. I've done a lot of work where the whole like I can't control things I can't control. So it's like I only focus on the things that I can, that I know need to like to make my life, let alone my business, move forward. There's that saying of like when you fall forward, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, because I've had the mental breakdowns, I've had the severe panic attack disorder, I was hospitalized because of it, and there's no way in hell I'm ever going back there. So like, again, pre-COVID stress versus now COVID, post-COVID stress, it's different.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go down, like, I don't want to be a victim of my own self again.
Yeah.
And having that type of stress. So now, besides, like, what's your mentality like now regarding stress? Because now you do, like, you have your meditation, you have your yoga. What have been a few things that you've now adapted?
So you just really said what you were saying. The biggest part of the challenges is not to worry about the things that you don't have control over. And I think that's what my biggest part of this journey is going to be, and it has been. I worry about so many different things that it's not within my control, right? So I think through therapy, through yoga, definitely meditation, I think I'm learning and I'm trying to get myself in that let it go, let it go. And don't stress about the things that are not within your control.
Yeah, it's way easier said than done.
It is very way easier said than done. It's an everyday challenge. I even coming here, my husband called and said, how was your day? Well, I had some challenges. And like, well, what happened? I was telling him, well, this is what happened. And as I'm telling him, I'm like, it wasn't within my control. This person had this notion about what what she was thinking, and there's nothing I can do with her thoughts are. Her thoughts are her thoughts, and I need to not worry about what her thoughts are. I need to worry about what's best for me. And so, it's a challenge. You had to kind of say to myself, can't stress about something that it's not within your control.
Yeah, I really wish there was like a pill you could take to like not, because like there's things even, and I don't know if I've shared this with you, but my daughter was recently diagnosed with autism. And there's a lot of moving pieces with that. And it's hard because she's my daughter. I love her to pieces. We have a great relationship, a great life, but seeing her struggle the way that she does and how it has impacted her and it's literally something out of my control. So it's so, and like, that's the perfect example of like, that I can think of. Cause like there's, yes, if a client comes in here and says something to me, like I can choose to react the way I want to react and let it bother me or not, you know, but like when it comes down to family, it's very difficult. That's, I think, been a very big challenge, you know, to really like put so much effort into not allowing the things I can't control to overtake my life. Because like I look at my daughter and nobody would ever know that she's autistic. I mean, it's pretty,
I didn't know.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Even when you, now that you know, you will still never be like, you know, what are you talking about? She's like a perfect kid. But then it's like, but then as a parent, being able to like not stress about all that, because if I were, I wouldn't be able to get anything done, right? Because like I care about her, how's she getting to school? Like, did she get to school today? Because, you know, the better part of the last 2 years.
She needs that positive energy too.
Totally.
You know, and if you have that stress and that, you know, the state of mind, then she reads into it, and she kind of, you know, she absorbs what you're absorbing.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
1,000%.
So yeah, it's definitely stress is something that I can tell you we do need to learn how to manage.
Yeah, for sure.
know?
And like, and maybe that this is where like the next generation of like personal development comes in, because, you know, now it's, because it's about like healing from your past, right? There's a lot of personal development in there. Then there's like, you know, like learning high level skills to like progress your future. But then it's like, how do you manage all that? Like, how do you manage even the stress of growth, right? Because, you know, some people I've talked to like have a general fear of like success, and that fear is a huge stressor in their life.
Yeah.
And it creates unhealthy habits. It creates drinking and a lot of alcohol, among other substances or, you know, whatever else. But it's like, and I think, you know, now, like, and I think technology too is another, I'll call that a substance, because like doom scrolling.
I think so. It's, you know, even for us, like even my age group, you know, I mean, you start stress, social media, you know, every page you turn, there's it's either stress about, oh, I'm not as successful as the other person, or it's the stress that, oh my God, look what's happening with the world, or stress of how do people treat them, you know, each other the way they do. There's a lot of stress out there. Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's why, like, again, like this whole, like, I say it a lot, but the power of proximity is like the people you surround yourself with. Like if they're high stress, you know, high worry people, like you're going to become that person, because that's just like the name of the conversation.
And you know, and that's the thing. That's me. And I can't be around another person like that. Yeah. You know, I need someone that can calm me and put me in that right place.
Yeah. The forward thinking, challenge you a little bit, and like not have to talk about like the current events, and, you know, to talk about like personal growth. You know, I feel like a lot of conversations, like I was at my family's house last weekend, and, you know, it's like you want to like just talk about them, and then all just politics gets brought up, and it's all stress.
It is right now. Everything is stress. Even at the bank, you know, where I'm at, you know, I'm dealing with financial, you know, clients, and see where they are and what's happening with their lives. And it's kind of like that's stress too, you know. When you sit there and you talk to your client, or tell how is business, and they're like, oh, well, business is good, or oh no, business is not good. Then that's also stress, you know, like you're absorbing their stress, knowing like, oh, this is my client, you know, what can I do to help that person? Their business is not, you know, they're struggling. And then you're thinking, okay, so if his business is struggling, then maybe there's going to be more businesses struggling. You just kind of like, you know, you look at the current event and you're like, is this part of what's happening?
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely touch upon, I'm in a lot of like small business groups, and there's a ton of small businesses right now that are just suffering. It's hard because, you know, no matter what state of my business is in, I will tell you it's great, because whether it is or it isn't, it'll eventually get there. Right. Yeah. And it's like, I absorbed that very early on in my career, because it's like when you tell people about the negative, then they're going to like want to know more. And then you start to like explain yourself, and then you're just like immersing yourself in that negative mindset. Right. Versus like, I'm always like, I'm pretty, at this point, I can consider myself a forward thinker, you know, because it's like, even on like, you know, there's some weeks we'll make $300, or some weeks we'll make, $5,000. And it's like, it's always so different. So if like you just focus on the bigger picture and be like, yeah, we're great, we're booming, things are fantastic, instead of like, oh, we're hurting, like we're down numbers, we're this, we're that. And it's like it's just unnecessary stress. And I know like in the business world, because I know that's the area that you see, it is hard because like in small business, that's the heartbeat of America.
Absolutely, they are. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I'm really proud of you in a lot of ways. I know sometimes, I mean, your road, your journey's not done, right? Especially for everything that you've gone through.
No, not at all. I mean, I came in, I don't know, I think when somebody here asked me how I was doing, I said, I have good days and bad days. And then there are some good days and there are absolutely some really bad days. There's some scary days that you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to happen to me again. Especially having to go through it twice. So that fear of happening again, it's huge.
The fear of having a panic attack was spiral me into more panic attacks. It finally came and I don't remember when the big transition was to when, because I was on medicine and all that stuff. That really where I felt comfortable again, just being around people, running, getting my heart rate up, because there's so many things that were making me feel like having a panic attack. Then I would just have a panic attack. And, and I think I'm good now. I think I have it managed, but it's been 6-7 years of trial and error to figure that out. And so I definitely, and I'm still, I think the scars are still there in the back of your head. You never want to relive that again, you know, and we're going to do whatever we can in order to not put ourselves back in that position.
And especially right now for me, I think from January to February, I remember it was really dark days. I met some amazing, amazing people on my journey too. Just uplifting. They were just so positive. So I went through that whole from being down, going up. And now I'm noticing that I'm kind of dipping down. And it might just be because, first of all, I went back to work. And I'm also 8 months when it happens. I do feel like that anxiety is building back up on me again. So that's the part that I need to go back and kind of, reset and say, okay, I need to chill and maybe need to go back to I'm still in therapy, but just kind of, address that more.
Yeah. I've had this really weird thing after these really big highs, right after I have these really big lows. And the best way to kind of explain it is after a big race, a marathon, an Ironman, you have this huge high, you're working towards this big goal. And then the post-race blues is what I call it. But it's depression is really what it comes down to. And the only way to fix that is in the race world is to sign up for more races. And so my advice, unsolicited advice, is to lean into the people that got you into that good headspace. Because even though you might not make it to every meet, but it's if you just, it's that forward thinking, it's that, because it's that time of year where it happens, the build up, the holidays, and this is really where and I think the holidays, and I got to look at the stats. I wouldn't doubt it if if there's a time of year where most people have heart attacks.
So funny you said that. That was something that my cardiologist shared with me, that women tend to have more heart attacks in December than any other month.
There you go. Yeah. I was probably going to.
Because we're women.
But I think that that's really where it shows whether the heart attack be because you have the widowmakers where you got the blocked arteries. But then you have the ones that are like you that are stress induced, but I think that's, there comes a time to open our eyes to see okay, things are not working right. And if this is a time of year, we got to change either how we do the holidays, because the holidays is a very stressful time. No matter how many times, I can't remember holidays where I've been relaxed on a beach.
Even you're trying to be relaxed on the beach. When you come home, you're like,
yeah,
what did I do? I just, I blew Christmas for everybody.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to go and relax on
totally
on a beach. But funny you said that, because my son and his girlfriend, they moved back home to, for a couple of months, or a few months, I should say, before they move on to their journey. But we've been going for walks at night, and we just brought this up this last week, and we just kind of talked about what are we going to do for the holidays. And one of the things I shared with them, I said, I'm building up that anxiety, and I just don't want to go through that whole, celebrating Christmas materially with materialistic stuff. I want us to just get together. This should be that appreciation for me, especially to be appreciative of the life that I've been given and the second chance in life that I've been giving. So I want to take that and kind of piggyback on surrounding myself with my loved ones and my friends and my family and my kids, instead of worrying about who wants what. And nobody needs anything these days anyway. It's like my kid's like, Mom, like, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what does that look like to you? Like, what in your eyes, like what does like a relaxing holiday, like what would something like that
Oh my God.
look like?
Everybody at my house, everybody makes something, bring something, sit and we play games and we laugh and talk about whatever funny stories in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the stress, I don't buy gifts for people. Like I have nieces and nephews that live down the street. I don't think I've ever bought them a gift. I would way rather give them experiences, give them affection, give them love. Like, I think that there's so much more value in that than there is in like, my daughter. And I try to do the same thing with my daughter. Like, she likes crafting stuff. So, which I don't mind that type of stuff, but it's like the stupid Barbie or the stuffy or the things that are just
you
like.
You can buy those anytime.
Totally.
I don't even know why we have to stress so much about like, we have to get this again
on
Christmas.
Yeah.
Again. Because they already have it.
Totally. It's just, it's the same stuff. He just looks, it's just a different shape, and that's, I think like where her and I live a different life versus her mom. Cause it's like, it's about the gifts. It's about the things. It's about earning. And, she just went to school for an entire month. And this is the first time since she's been in school where she's actually hasn't missed a day in 30 days.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's been great, but her mom rewarded her with buying her stuff. And so, but then when she earned that stuff, she didn't go to school yesterday. So yesterday was the first day she missed because there's nothing to work towards, and that's why it's like, for me, being able to give experiences, like those are priceless, to spend quality time with someone that's uninterrupted, like, to not have to like answer emails or be on your phone. And, and it's very difficult I have a hard time disconnecting because my life is my work. Everything I do, I run, I cycle, and everything I get my daughter to do is my life, but having that experience, knowing that like a calm, relaxed, like, and especially during the holidays, because that is the time when everybody has time off to like
disconnect from everything. And
some businesses actually close, some don't, but then you have time off to be able to spend time with loved ones. So I love that. And I hope that your family makes that dream reality, because
I hope so. I actually, I shouldn't say I hope so. I have a feeling that that's what they would wish also to have with us, because that was my son. Actually, he was just like, Mom, we need to have an experience, just like you said, Christmas. And it's not about the gift. It's just about us getting together.
Yeah. Because even like, the thought of a cruise would be like, I think so stressful. It's like, even if you don't want to be home, like go rent a house in Big Bear, like go to a cabin, for like a week and just like let them do whatever they want. You do whatever you want. And just like we eat dinner every night together. And like, I don't know. I'm a totally experienced guy. Like if I want to buy something, I go buy it. Like I don't.
That's how, most people are anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody waits for Christmas to get something.
Totally. Unless you're one of those weird Black Friday people, but that's a whole different story. But all right, I really do. I am proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm excited. Maybe in a year or two or a few months, we'll have you on again and have some progress.
There's some good stuff that I'm thinking of doing, just some soul searching. This is part of the journey, the soul searching, what's important, what's not important.
Yeah,
what
for sure.
to let go, what to keep,
For sure.
And especially things that are a little bit more stressful in my life. I think, I'm working on a couple of different things.
Yeah. So if y'all are out there and you are so stressed out and you don't even know it, like there's a perfect example of somebody who took care of herself, who put her life in her soul, everything into her business and her family. And still she did it right. and life still did her wrong. So let her be a good example. Let's take control of your health. And thank you for joining us on this episode. We'll see you on the next one.
Well, thank you for having me.
I love you so much. That's it for today's episode of Becoming Epic. If something stirred in you today, don't let it fade. Take one step, one rep, one bold move. You're not here to play small. You're here to rise, rebuild, and become who you were born to be. Remember, average is easy, epic is earned, and the only way out is through. I believe in you, but it's time you believe in you. Subscribe, share, join the movement, and I'll see you in the next one. Now, go be epic.